And we're recording. Hey, what's going on? It's your main man, Imani Malaya. I'm here with Joshua Peters. What's up, Josh?
Woo woo! Oh man, living the quarantine dream.
Yeah, we are the Fightologists. We're going to talk about the stories and a whole bunch of other stuff. We didn't talk about this. We're going RPG-13 this time.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
this is
PG-13.
keep those masses who have been, I hear like with bated breath, waiting to hear our voices again.
Okay, so PG-13 it is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, but I'm Imani Malaya. Like I said, I'm a fight videographer. I do things here in the DMV. We're based out of here. Right now, I'm working on a couple projects. Josh, what's going on with you?
Man, no, I'm just trying to teach Dim Mak online.
How's that going? Or are you killing your connection? Your death
Oh
touch
man,
killing
my
your connection.
connection was just dropped dead. I picked up my cell phone and that person's like,
the death touch. You know, that's a real
it,
thing. The
it's
inventor
real.
of Aikido, he used to do that. The what's it? Old sensei.
Oh
Always
yeah,
they used to do the death touch. People don't know that. It's real,
that
brother.
man. You
Understand.
know why they don't know about that? Because they never lived to tell.
Thank you, thank you. But we're going to talk about some more serious stuff. Well, before we get into that, like I said, I'm from the DMV DC area. Is there anything going on around here we need to talk about combat sports wise?
So, um, Cage Zella, which also runs TCB, has announced that they're postponing all their events, I think, until at least June to see what goes on. Of course, all that's a case by case basis. Um, Let me pull up real quick. I can tell you what Jeff Wild says. That's one of the longest running, probably one of the most reputable amateur MMA, and they also run TCB, Thai Championship Boxing, promotions in the area. Jeff Wild with Wild Style Productions.
Are you going to a
So
Snapchat? Oh, wild
yeah,
style.
so yeah, I got that premium on him. Um, so they have postponed a bunch of their events, and they've also set up a philanthropy page that's that if you're a gym owner or a promotion, you can link your GoFundMe accounts or your paper
Oh, nice.
cup or wherever you're sitting on the corner, trying to live that hobo lifestyle and raise your funds up.
Well, that's a real thing. I mean, locally, and it doesn't matter where you are, DMV or anywhere in the country right now, gyms are actually doing some interesting, creative stuff to stay afloat. I mean, you're a gym owner, jiu-jitsu black belt,
Yeah.
you've been in this for a while. What's that like?
So I run College Park Mixed Martial Arts. That's actually now located in Beltsville, just across the College Park line. It's really rough. I've basically told my students that if they're really affected by the all the COVID-19 stuff going around, that I'm not charging them. But I've been actually exceptionally lucky that probably about 90% of my students have actually reached out to me to make sure that they're making their payments, because I think they realize that my landlord's not going to really give two shits about anything going on. She's terrible. And if I can't pay the rent, there's not going to be a gym. So they really have chipped in and, as best they can to support them. And I know that's not too far out for the community. A lot of places have been telling me that their students are doing their best they can to support them sort of this crazy time. I am looking in to see what sort of loan I can get. If anything, just to build the gym's credit, you can look on the IRS site. But it's really crazy. I've been doing Zoom like we're doing right now to do
Uh,
online learning. But as someone who's also trained and fought and competed and all that, you kind of understand how difficult it is to learn martial arts online.
oh
So,
my goodness, you have
ugh.
no idea. I choked out my neighbor's dog about 4 times today. They have the PETA and ASPCA. Everybody's on my ass, man. It's hard
Heard
to
that
do
little
without a
Pomeranian
partner.
had it coming though.
It's hard to do without a partner. I mean, I've been doing solo drills pretty much consistently for the last, I don't know, 6, 7 years, and I mean it'll keep you in shape. You know, that's about it.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. It keeps you in shape, maybe keeps you mentally engaged, like do a lot of film study. I've always been into like watching matches and like looking for specific things like, oh, this what happened in this scenario, and what are these people's reactions. But yeah, you really cannot simulate, even if you're not sparring, just live drilling.
no, but it's good though because the in shape part is important because it pisses me off when I come to these gyms, these Muay Thai gyms, Jiu-Jitsu gyms, and these guys get tired after like two, three rounds. Like you guys go to the gym
Oh
more than I
yeah,
do, and you get tired faster than I do. Like maybe you should do some solo drills at home. Maybe this is a good opportunity.
yeah, get your shoes out. Like I'm working out for an hour and a half every day. I'm also going running and hiking, taking my dog out. You can see how active he is.
Yeah, well, speaking of active, we got to talk about all of these stories going on in the world of MMA,
There's a lot
Muay
going on.
Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, boxing, naked wrestling, all types
Hey,
of stuff going
speak
on.
on it, brother. Preach it.
The biggest thing we got to get to, our first story of the day, definitely is Ferguson versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. I mean, I believe that the curse is real. As you all know by now, the scheduled UFC lightweight bout between champion Khabib Nurmagomedov and Tony Ferguson on April 18th at UFC 249, of course, has been canceled. Many factors have contributed to the canceled bout, all stemming from the COVID-19 epidemic. This is the fifth consecutive time that this fight has been scheduled and fell through since December of 2015. So my question to you, Josh, is this bout really cursed, or is there something else going on? What's happening?
I don't know if this bout's, if curse is the right word, coming from someone who's not terribly superstitious or religious, but I probably wouldn't want to get on a plane with either one of them.
Why is that?
I like landing.
No. When you put both of them together, it'll probably explode. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like,
but like, so there actually was word this morning saying that it might be possible for Khabib to charter a private plane out. But then where are they going to hold this? I mean, they couldn't even do this. I don't think at the UFC Performance Center, in Las Vegas. Are they going to charter a boat and have some monkey knife fighting as the prelims?
Maybe I'll watch that. Wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, I will.
Monkey knife fighting with the Tiger King.
Yes, Furious George ain't going to be furious no more. So.
I mean, like I said, this is the fifth time, and probably going to try to do it again. Dana White said he would never book this fight again. Previously, before this match came up, they would only match up for each other. There's nobody else that each other can fight, but it never seems to happen. I mean, honestly. Yeah. I think it is going to happen, but it's so good that you can't make it superficial. Like this has to be probably. On paper, it doesn't look like the most anticipated or the biggest fight of all time. But these two fighters, the fact that it's been building up for so long means that there's something special on the horizon.
And this has to be honestly up there with the style matchup that neither one of them has fought so unlike the other. They've fought people that have shades of part of it, but Tony's never fought the sort of boxer wrestler that Khabib is. And Khabib's never, I don't think, ever really had to wrestle with someone on meth. So, I mean, I don't know how it's like Tony's a high-level wrestler who likes to fight off his back, who does all sorts of unorthodox stuff, has really good timing, humongous hands. I think he has like a 2 or 3 inch reach advantage on Khabib. Like, it's a hell of a matchup.
Yeah, but the way I look at it, Eddie Bravo was on Joe Rogan maybe like a month or so ago talking about this is the culmination of all his work as far as like facing a fighter. The whole reason they came up with the 10th Planet System Jiu-Jitsu rubber guard was for MMA ground and pound. That's the whole reason he did it. He was like, why Jiu-Jitsu guys on their back and they can't use Jiu-Jitsu. They can't do Jiu-Jitsu. They get beat down, they get pounded, they get past all that stuff. So he created this whole system for ground and pound, and arguably Khabib is the best ground and pound person out there right now.
He might honestly be.
Because, yeah. It's not just about the force of the strikes on the ground, but it's the control of the position on the ground where he can get off his ground and pound. So it's like I was looking forward to this fight simply because that this is probably Eddie Bravo in essence, what he passed on to Tony Ferguson, their culmination of all the work that they've done together and all the work they've done in 10th Planet. I didn't see too much that Khabib gets out of it, but I saw a lot that Tony and his camp gets out of it.
But I mean, Tony hasn't lost in 2 years or some crazy amount of time. Now, let me just preface anything with Eddie Bravo. He also said when Mark Coleman fought Fader that Mark Coleman should have pulled guard. So we're gonna.
And he also said the Earth is flat.
And satellites don't exist, and where the moon's made out of cheese, or who the fuck knows what.
But he did make a 10th Planet System specifically to stop ground and pound.
Yeah, I mean, and not just that. To say that you don't need to rely on the gi. If you're not fighting in the gi, not competing in the gi, then why do you need to put one on? And I think there is a lot of validity to that part. But I mean, there's not a lot of other people out there for for Tony to fight. I mean, he's earned the right to fight the champion twice, and then earned the interim. I think it was he earned the interim belt, and see, the fight has to happen. And I think I think the personality differences. I mean, all the Tony's not Connor. Like, and so he's brash, but he's not. He's a different type of dick.
It's a different type of dick. That's what my girlfriend calls me. Not the kind I like.
No, like the derogatory. But yeah, I guess he's almost like I don't know, for someone who trains all in LA, he comes across as like a Jersey boy. But shit, he backs it up.
Well, hold on. You brought up Connor, and I don't like bringing them up when there's no need, but there is a need because he said this fight would fall through. I mean, we were like, come on. We sort of knew something could happen, but nobody thought a pandemic. He said this fight would fall through, and then he would be on the sidelines to fill in, and the fight fell through. So is he on the sidelines, and is he going to fill in?
Well, I do know he sent this morning a picture of a chicken sandwich and called it a Khabib sandwich to Tony Ferguson on Twitter. And there were some rumors, I think I read it on Bloody Elbow, that Justin Gaethje might be tapped to fill in, which I don't know why Justin Gaethje wants to get murdered that bad, but
Justin Gaethje, he has a fighter's chance. I mean, he's
a tough dude. I like him. I'm a fan, but I don't think he's on the level of being able to beat Khabib. I mean, of being able to beat Ferguson. Ferguson's going to riot on him.
We'll see. I mean, I don't know. Well, maybe nobody will knows, and we'll get to that in a minute as far as like what the UFC is doing about this, what other organizations doing about this. But let's talk about another story though, real quick. In the news, you know who we got to talk about now? If it's not Connor, it's John Jones. John Jones doing John Jones. Yeah, for y'all who don't know, according to TMZ, John Jones just pleaded guilty to driving while intoxicated after being arrested on March 26th when police officers responded to gunfire. And found John.
He also had a loaded weapon in his car.
I know. Yeah.
Was it registered?
Yeah. He wasn't like charged for illegal arms, but that's what he was charged for. He was charged with DWI, and he had some other charges too that were dropped because he pleaded guilty to the DWI, and he was put on 1 year supervised probation, and basically house arrest for about 96 hours in some community service stuff. So my question,
basically, nothing changes.
That's my question.
I'm on house arrest, basically.
Yeah, everybody's on house arrest. So is John Jones like spiraling out? Is bad things happening to him? And if so, what can be done to prevent it? You're lost for words.
Yeah, he needs therapy. Like, goddamn, take away his keys.
Finally, I shut you up.
It's like talking to R. Kelly and say, just put away the camcorder.
Oh my goodness, dang.
I mean, but seriously, look, I get it. I go bored. My dog has probably walked between here and Antarctica this week, just how bored I've been because there's not that much else to do, and in terms of my business. So, but he needs counseling, and this, depending on what happens in court later, this could very well be. I mean, might face time. This isn't like his second or third time.
No. He pleaded guilty. I believe it was Monday or Tuesday. He pleaded guilty to DWI, so they dropped the gun charges. They dropped the open carry charges, and this is it for him. It's not. He's been a sentence. This is a sentence.
So if that's the only sentence he has, and that's all that comes out of this. First of all, he needs to run for president because nothing significant sticks. You thought Bill Clinton got away with shit. You thought Trump gets away with things. This dude does it, brags about it, then he basically gets like a little pat on the head and says, "Oh, that's too bad." Like,
is there a problem? Is there a problem? Like, does anything have to be done?
A problem for who? It's obviously not a problem for him.
Exactly. Is there a problem for anybody? Is this like he's doing stuff? So what? Is like, does somebody need to step in? Does somebody need not step in? Here's what I say, personally. I mean, I think he needs help. I mean, he has a wife and kids.
You think he needs a hug?
He needs help. He needs a hug, maybe too. He needs a hug and some help. He has a wife and kids at home. Imagine how they feel. And I know what it's like. They're in a household with pretty much a wild man. So it's not going to get better over time, and it's only going to make it worse for them. My thing is that, of course, everybody's looking at the UFC. What do? Strip them? No. Drop them? No. But imagine if they did drop him. Imagine if the UFC dropped him, which will never happen.
He's going to
what
one.
happen?
He's going to one FC.
Why?
Unless Bellator is able to somehow throw the World Bank at his ass, and you're going to see the most amazing comic book character in existence. He will be coked and roided out of his mind. He will have a 2-year run where he probably murders someone in the cage because he's going to soccer stomp, knee to the head, donkey kick someone. And because they don't do, I mean, there's drug testing, and one, it all goes back to one. I think it's one like doctor's office in China. That's run by one dude.
But I don't think they can pay him though. I don't think they can pay him what the UFC has been able to get.
Well, they're backed by a company that's bigger than Amazon.
That doesn't mean that they're paying their fighters top dollar.
I don't know, but I mean, damn, homeboy needs help. That, or we need to call Duarte, who just said you can shoot and kill anyone who leaves the quarantine.
Yeah, I don't know what you could do, but if I was running the UFC, I would drop him. I would drop him just to teach him a lesson. I would drop him like they do the people on Contender Series, where it's like, okay, work your way back up. Get your stuff together.
Get your shit together.
Get your stuff together. We'll be waiting for you. But my question is that if you do that to him, does that make him better? Or does that make him worse?
They'd have to release him with some sort of like a non-compete clause saying he can fight for, I don't know, WAMA or
damn, you just throwing him under the bus. He can fight for like some hold up.
Yeah, like some lower level organization with a reset, with an option to resign, because if they just let him go, he's gonna go. I mean, he's not sticking around.
No, but that's the funny part. I mean, what if you're a coach, you coach professional fighters. What if you go to one of these little organizations and they're like, we have a last minute replacement for your opponent, John Jones?
Yeah, I mean, some of my fighters, like to my fighters, I mean, shit, some of them have trouble getting health insurance. So, but
you can't do
why
that.
not? You know what?
You can't do that.
Outside, look, if we're gonna be complete objective assholes here,
yes, please.
We're gonna take away any humanity from this decision. What do you have to lose?
What do you have to lose by what?
By fighting him. You lose, you lost to John Jones. You beat him, or you even have a really good showing.
Man, you lose a couple brain cells. You lose.
I said, look, I'm not talking about like physical damage or any of that shit. I'm just talking about
physical
the stats.
But look, talk about permanent brain damage. You need to talk about these things.
Let me channel the Uncle Chael. If you're not fighting to be the best, you shouldn't be fighting.
Yeah, and he probably said that with drool coming out of his mouth. If you're not fighting for CTE, you're not fighting.
But yeah, I mean, I guess, look, for me it'd be easy because I don't have anybody who fights at 205. But I mean, I have one guy who'd probably be dumb enough to say yes, but
exactly, dumb enough. So that whole idea doesn't work.
But again, look at all these people that fight him in the UFC who really didn't have half a chance in hell.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, UFC's not going to drop him. He's not going to get a huge sentence.
He makes too much money.
He'll probably even keep his title. So it's like we just have to wait till the next thing happens. That's pretty.
Yeah, they'll make a 206 champion.
A 206. Well, speaking of which, you think they should do 165 weight class? I know you're into
look, this is how I think.
Get into it.
You can't. Yeah, we weren't going to talk about this, but let's talk about this because let's keep it real. None of us have anything else to do. I don't think it should be like boxing necessarily, or even wrestling on the non-Olympic level. But yeah, 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, 75, 85, 95, and then go 205. Yeah.
And then super heavyweight 319. No, just
319. Well, I mean, you know what I actually don't get is why they don't do super heavyweights.
I don't know.
Outside the fact that 90% of them suck.
Because they don't want you sumo wrestlers in the UFC. That's why. Not anymore.
I know, man. They were there. I'm telling you, sumo was on the cusp of just dominating the sport.
All right, we're going to talk about this later. let's get back. But we're actually going to stay in the MMA realm of the UFC. So the UFC is putting on events, but Bellator, one, are not. Not to mention in NFL, NHL. So other major sport organizations have suspended their seasons, but Dana White and the UFC are determined to maintain their event schedule.
Well, maybe if the rest of the world wasn't such wusses about being entertained and were willing to die to watch two people beat themselves in a barely legal street fight, we'd have it better than America.
So you're for it. I hear you.
No, this is retarded. And look, the fact, like, I get that no one likes to lose money. I get it. But, and the whole persona of Dana White being the tough guy who taught boxercising and, I don't know, then got fat and steroided up and is bald now. I had a point to that, but it just went away. There's an image he wants to portray. And then there's reality. I couldn't believe that UFC Sao Paulo went on, and the two events, or the one event that one did, and one isn't doing any events right now. And look, you're talking about a place that has dubious oversight at best.
Well, all the other organizations have stopped doing things. Big organizations, boxing has canceled a bunch of events. WWE is still doing WrestleMania though. They're doing it like.
No, I think that they're going to do that in like a close, and even that, like the production of WWE, like because you're saying not supposed to have more than 10 people, or some places 5 to 10, or whatever, right?
It was like, I don't know, it's got to be like close to 100 just in the production.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't know how they're going to do that, and are they going to? So put it like this. I went to Mom's today, Mom's Organic Market, to go get food. And I consider anyone working in grocery stores or any of that much more essential than someone working in the UFC. They're providing a service that allows daily life to go on.
But there's no sports on TV, no live sports. They're filling that void, and they're going to get some pay-per-view money out of it.
But check this out. So Mom's gave all the workers a bonus and is doubling their pay. That's still, if someone comes in, and the one in College Park is a relatively low traffic one compared to some others I've been in, you have all these people coming in. You have 100 people. Say each one of them has been in contact. Let's be super conservative because I suck at math. Let's say they've all been in contact with 5 people. That's 500 people that each person could basically be exposed to.
I hope this goes. This again to the UFC somewhere.
Say both of us were exposed to 5 people, and we carry the virus, but we're not sick because you have ginger ale and I have chicken soup.
What does this have to do with Dana White and the UFC?
But wait, just follow me. The dangers of putting on these shows, even in a closed setting, like with no audience or nothing, it's not really closed. And then a fighter gets sick. One of the things that we're finding from people who've recovered from COVID-19, they could be losing up to 30% of their lung capacity. You could be fucked for the rest of your athletic career, a good part hampered for the rest of your life for taking a risk on putting on a fight. It's kind of the reason we have tapping in jiu-jitsu. We don't just let our arms get broken, ourselves choked unconscious all the time, because we say, all right, you know what? It's not worth the risk or the long-term effects.
Yeah, you're making me like super dizzy, Oh my goodness. All right, thank you.
You get it? But like, we cannot. The risk is more than what that immediate thing of like, say, I could concussion or whatever from a fight. The exposure, because you're exposed also to you. So if you're gonna fight, we're assuming you're not just alone in your garage, right? You're strength and conditioning, you're doing jiu-jitsu, you're doing all these other things. So you have all your training partners you need to be exposed to, and all the people your training partners, and then all that filters in. Is UFC good? Is it worth? Again, let's take the Arkham's Edge asshole approach. Forget personal suffering and all that. Do UFC want to risk a lawsuit? You made me work. You come with COVID-19, like I think it's ridiculous their approach.
All right, so we're just going to agree on that. They shouldn't do it. All right, let's move on.
It's I mean, like the whole herd mentality. You gotta appreciate that we don't all live in a bubble.
All right. So
Yeah, but that's it.
let's talk about other things going on.
Yes, sir.
IBJJF. For people watching who don't know anything about jiu-jitsu, why you're watching, but
Mafia.
The International Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation, has canceled
Mafia.
all events this tournament season, including their two
Yep.
big ones, Pans and Worlds.
Worlds. Yep.
So how will this affect the jiu-jitsu world, Josh?
Well, this is huge. So it's kind of weird. In one way, it almost doesn't. So if you want to compete in the big ones, the Pans, the Worlds, Euros, you have to accumulate enough points as a competitor. Now, I'm not a huge fan, so I'm not sure if it's anyone under brown or black belt, but it might be that you have to, like, win the DC Open, which is now canceled, and then you also have to place, say, the Atlanta Open or the Miami Open. You have to get enough the top 3 spots enough times to get enough points, and now you can register. It used to be back in the day anyone could sign up for anything. And it was like, whatever, you just take your chances. Now you have to score enough points, almost like in a wrestling season. You have to qualify for regionals, qualify for states, qualify, for nationals and all that.
So how does this pandemic affect that?
So I guess in some ways it doesn't, because none of those events are going to go on. But on the other hand, jiu-jitsu has, in some ways, if the big money, because there's sometimes only $1,000 at stake or $2,000, are the adult divisions, right? You don't really see people win masters like Jande and Cobrahina, who compete in masters now. But the big money is the adults. Like, that's what everyone really cares about. People in their athletic primes.
So what do you mean big money? Is there anybody making money?
They are starting to do, I think, a couple cash prizes for the adult black belt absolute winners.
Okay.
And they might also be doing for the black belt adult. Now, I don't believe there's a cash prize for winning masters anything, except maybe a bum hit.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Maybe because if I'm not mistaken, like an event or two went on pro jiu-jitsu where people actually is one-on-one, it's on a match, it gets televised, it gets paid. So I'm thinking, we talked about
that's not IBJJF though. That's
exactly
like Fight to Win or something.
That's what I'm talking about. We talked about earlier how IBJJF has been under fire for a lot of things lately. The registration, the points, the being prejudiced against certain groups, and people saying, well, what's the point? We might as well just go to pro jiu-jitsu. Not only do we get paid, we get TV time, we get air time, but we don't pay to compete, things like that. So is
it's
this
such a limited option though?
What's that?
It's a limited option competing in pro jiu-jitsu. Like, you have Fight to Win, you have ADCCs, which is every 2 years, probably the biggest event in all of grappling, period, outside of the Olympics.
You got Polaris. You have the other one in New York. I forgot the name of that.
The thing is, for those, if you look at a lot of the top people, they're people that are winning in IBJJF events, or they're pro fighters or pro MMA fighters, who generally, most of them used to be jiu-jitsu competitors and then have transitioned on to MMA, and then once in a while go back, like Ben Henderson is a good example. Or
yeah, so you don't think, like, with all the stuff going on with IBJJF, including this, that people would be like, screw it, just do pro?
Some will. That's an option for them. A lot of people, like, look, I'm pretty good at jiu-jitsu. I know what I'm doing. I was never in the top 90 or top 80%. That was just not me. I was never in that A or B class of jiu-jitsu people, for as good as I got. So my options to compete are basically like getting on a Fight to Win card, or like SAGC, or no, they're defunct right now. Or like a lower level pro thing that's more local, or doing tournaments. And for 99% of the people out there doing these big, like, Polaris or what? No, shit.
Oh, get your life right.
Damn it. Yeah, I know. Okay. Can you see me?
No.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, so, like, for now, sorry about that. For 90% of these people, 99% of these people, I'd even say, that pro route is not an option, or isn't an option immediately.
Is there another tournament route besides IBJJF, or is it just stick it up?
Yes, I think Grappling Industries is doing a fantastic job. To be very honest, from a competitor's standpoint, my only complaint with Grappling Industries is they don't have a real rooster or featherweight. Their lightest weight class is 135. I walk around at $115, but whatever. Outside of that, they're well run. Uh, the the events are pretty well run. It's round robin. Also, it kind of sucks. Like what happened to me my first major IBJJF event, where I did Pans. I've done Pans. I did 2 times. I did New York Open 2 times. It sucks flying out, losing your first round, and then you're done. Right, single elimination. I like high stakes as a viewer because you know it's just there's so much more on the line on each match. But Grappling Industries is a round robin tournament, which means you're gonna have to fight everyone in there at least once, outside of their absolute division, their advanced absolute.
So we're talking about this epidemic. We're talking about how it affects IBJJF, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. This thing will not hurt it. This thing will not hurt the competitors. This thing will not hurt their organization.
Well,
it's just
anything,
a moment in time.
Like if we're looking at just the COVID-19 stuff, anything that's affecting the IBJJF is also affecting Grappling Industries and every like Tap Out Cancer, U.S. Grappling. It's affecting all of them. Now, once the medical dust settles and we begin to slowly crawl out of our homes, I do think Grappling Industries, out of all the worldwide tournaments, and I'm not going to include Naga in this because Naga's its own beast. It's definitely its own beast. Grappling Industries positioned itself with what they've done to be a serious contender to the IBJJF. Now, what's going to be very hard is changing the people go to the IBJJF, serious people, because they know that's where the best are going to be. If they want to be, to be the best, you got to beat the best. So the hurdle that Grappling Industries has to clear is making it appear as a second-tier organization. They have to change people's minds and say, listen, winning one of our tournaments is just as good as an IBJJF one. Now, they had started something really good. I think it was supposed to start in like 2 or 3 weeks. Obviously, it's not happening. But they made registration free for the Grappling Industries Worlds, which is going to be in Texas. All the competitors were free, which is huge because it's like $180 to do, I think, Worlds and IBJJF on top of whatever your $100 a year membership, exhortation fee that you have to pay.
All right, so it seems like
so they're in good position, but again, IBJJF has Carlson Jr. They have history, and it takes time. But out of all of them, I do feel Grappling Industries is doing the most to be a serious contender. And competition is good too, because I think eventually will force some, force the IBJJF to re-examine some of their policies and practices.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for your insight on that, Mr. Jiu-Jitsu. Okay, so we're wrapping it up. We have our last story. We have our last story of the day, and I don't know if you heard about this, but you knew about the fight between Billy Joe Saunders and Canelo Alvarez. It was scheduled, but of course it got postponed.
Damn. He was on an Ike Turner training course.
Yeah. Apparently, he had his license suspended for a social media video where he seemingly advocates domestic violence. Of course, he later apologized and said it was a joke. But do you think that type of suspicion is warranted? One, did you see the video?
I have not seen it. I heard about it because I have a boxing coach. It's
Well, I'll tell you about the video.
I don't think the time. I'm sorry. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so he described it. So pretty much the video, he's talking about if you're at home with your spouse, your loved one. Specifically, he was talking about your wife, referencing his own wife, and you're probably going crazy because you're in small quarters with him. He's demonstrating some techniques to help mitigate the frustration. He started with a jab, hook, uppercut, and he had a punching bag demonstrate in his garage. I mean, power blows, just left, right, hard hits, and keeping a straight face. I mean, obviously he was trying to go for satire, but he thought that was funny. When I saw it, I didn't think it was funny. So I don't know where he's coming from there, and he got suspended. Do you think that's justified?
Now, in general, you might even be a better judge of character than I am, which I don't know how much that's saying, but the time to take action is not after someone thinks, oh man, this will be funny if I go use my my wife or girlfriend or boyfriend or husband or whatever as a punching bag. That already is you're treating the cancer instead of preventing it.
Oh, he literally referenced his punching bag, like he was treating his wife like a punching bag.
I don't think that's funny at all. And that to me, like, yeah, man, homo, maybe you need to re-examine some of your morals.
Well, that is an issue. I mean, a lot of people, there is that stigma with combat fighters that we engage in domestic violence, and with boxers, we've seen stories of it, we've heard stories of it, and they're fighters by trade. So it's almost it's like an innate thing inside of them, and unfortunately, that the only person who's on the receiving end of that is who's ever in close proximity.
Well, I know Malaysia tried to get out ahead of this because the government issued I don't know if you call it a decree or whatever they call it over there, saying that wives should be careful not to nag their husbands while they're in quarantine.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible. That says more about the government and the men of that country than it does, about anybody else.
If I told you I'm going to do something, listen, don't bring it up every year.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a bad situation all around.
It does say something, and outside of I think only 2 or 3 women at my gym, every woman in my gym has experienced some sort of assault. And I have a small gym. I have like 50 students. It's not big. And it was like every 3 or every 4 women, or about 33 to 25% of all women on the earth will experience some sort of assault, or abuse. It's not something you can make jokes of. Like this, I would like to think that we've evolved as a species. This is the 1950s, where I'm telling you, Alice, or threatening to punch your wife to the moon is funny, and even then, it was sort of biting satire underneath it. It wasn't meant to advocate like, hey, this is the way to deal with things. This is Sean Connery with Barbara Walters. There needs to be repercussions when you have a position of power and you're a famous athlete. Like it or not, that's something that comes with the territory, and you got to take a little responsibility for things.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, and personally, he didn't even have to be famous. If my neighbor was doing that, I'd give him the backhand, like, stop that.
Oh yeah,
that's
absolutely. But he's not making a video like, if your neighbor's making a video saying, "Yo, man, you can treat your wife like a punching bag, and here's how to throw a 5-piece with a biscuit." That's
I mean, I'd go
not
knocking
good
on the
taste.
door with a face mask and gloves on because we're in quarantine, but I still go knocking on that door.
Maybe you have to do a cavity check.
You have to be safe. You have to be safe with the gloves now. You can't touch anything. You can't touch doorknobs. You can't touch food. Nothing. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, but that's good. Moral of the story: don't be a dick. But well, we can keep it moving. That's
don't be a dick, and don't. It's like more than that. Like, just have a little empathy. I think one of the biggest things that's upset me over the last number of years is how lack of empathy has somehow become an in thing.
Yeah,
and damn. You think we're jiu-jitsu guys, right?
Yeah.
You do jiu-jitsu. You learn empathy. If I tap, you let go. You hopefully, if you're not a sociopath.
Sometimes,
Sometimes, yeah. There was that one guy who just said,
Yeah. You just hide the hand a little bit. You look around, make sure nobody's looking.
The ref see it.
Shinya Aoki. No, but you're right. You're right, Gary. We're all in this. They call it the post political correct era. Well, some political correctness is just like learning how to be decent.
That's not being politically correct. That's, I don't know, in some ways human survival. We treat each other well. It's worked yet, but you treat each other well. You don't compete in IBJJF events. We take care of one another. It'll work out.
All right, and on that note, thanks, Josh. Had a good time.
Yeah.
We had a little speak, talked about some stuff in the combat sports world. We are the Fightologists. You can check us out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Fightologists. Follow us for all of these nice little chats that we have, fight commentary. We'll be at actual fights around the country, locally. We're going to cover all those little guys, too, because they need love.
Oh, yeah. Support your local fighters. Look, local fighters, man, got to go watch them. None of those people in the UFC magically appeared there. They were fighting at rinky-dink, backwater little organizations at one point.
Yeah, that's right. So follow your fighters, support your fighters, and we're going to keep things moving. So I guess after
and we have a premium
over,
Snapchat coming soon too. You can donate, see all the extra content.
Yeah, sure. I won't be there. Trust me. Well, my hands will be in frame, but my body won't.
Well, you know. Oh, look at them hands.
All right. So thanks for checking in with Fightologists, guys. We'll check you next time. Peace.
Peace.